Every time an Uber driver swipes to accept another ride, or a freelancer at Fiverr pulls to refresh the page, hoping for another gig, they are playing a game designed to keep them hooked. But unlike video games, this one hides the pause button. The gig economy promises independence and flexibility to anyone willing to hustle. Companies like Uber, Lyft, and Fiverr attract workers in the allure of easy money without the constraints of traditional job. In its early years, this model appeared revolutionary. A 2016 survey conducted during the early heyday of gig work found that 70% of those who freelance by choice were happier than those in traditional jobs. For many, it served as a quick way to make a buck or to regain stability after job loss, because it's amongst the easiest work to start immediately. Over time, cracks began to show. It became increasingly evident that the distinction between employee and independent contractor sat at the core of these companies' profit model. Traditional employees are entitled to benefits such as a minimum wage and retirement plans. Gig work employers are exempt from these responsibilities. Instead, they promote an opportunity for a better work-life balance, free of set schedules. Ironically, in 2020, Uber's CEO Derek Khosrowshahi said he would consider giving workers health benefits contingent on how many hours they worked nationwide, with full-time workers receiving greater benefits. But of course, that proposal was undercut, that proposal would undercut the supposed flexibility of gig work. For anybody that thinks that Derek Khosrowshahi didn't know that when he made this comment, he did. Oh yeah, we could do this for everybody. He knew it would be shot down by the people above him. More recent investigations show that this model is still expanding. Despite precarious conditions for workers, a report released by Human Rights Watch in 2025 found that gig workers are governed by algorithms that are frequently opaque, making it difficult to understand how they are monitored, paid, evaluated, or fired. In her study of ride-hail drivers, Veena Dubal, who has been on this podcast several times, or 2 times, sorry, but it's been a while. But let me put a little marker on there. Thank you, Veena, very much for being a guest on this podcast. Veena and I do not see eye to eye. She was part of actually creating Prop 22. She was one of the law drafters. She is the professor of law at University of California, Hastings, and she has been nice enough to come on this podcast twice, as several people have, who I don't see eye to eye with at all. So Veena Dubal describes workers how workers expected a predictable hourly wage, but instead found themselves subject to algorithmic wage discrimination, with pay that fluctuates minute by minute under rules hidden entirely from workers. That's where the water now gets muddy. When I had Veena on in 2021, the last time, it still wasn't so muddy. It wasn't this bad, but now I still am not there. I don't think that if you're your own boss, you're not going to get paid the same on everything. You got to go out there and hustle. Dumpling's proof. I send people to Dumpling and they don't like it because they're like, where are the orders? You got to go get your clients. Then you can make more money. But so she's talking about minute by minute fluctuation. I see what she's saying, but if you go back and listen to that interview, I think it's episode like 57 of my podcast that she's on the last time. So Amazon Flex, a program that allows individuals to use their own car to deliver packages, relies on similar tactics. A policy brief published by the National Employment Law Project reports how flex drivers are subject to digital surveillance and algorithmic management, despite being classified independent contractors. For gig companies, many of their design choices are mechanisms that encourage full-time effort without the benefits of full-time employment. And I'm going to tag in right there with my own little footnote. Anybody like ringing a bell with active time? Mm-hmm. Stop using active time. Stop saying it. Real time. As Sarah Mason, the driver for then a driver for Lyft and DoorDash, reported in a 2018 article to The Guardian, they are losing money trying to flatter customers in hopes of receiving a high rating. Gig work exploits workers' instinct to please, even when it drains their time and money. When things go wrong, many gig workers also lack an alternative resource, leaving them locked into a system that promises freedom but delivers insecurity. According to the 2025, what is it again? The HRW is the Human Rights Watch report. Many gig workers make an average of $5.12 after work expenses. Now, these are the kind of studies I don't believe in. If you guys don't know how to do some basic math of, again, not active time, but if you leave your house for 10 hours and you're home 10 hours to the minute later, you worked for 10 hours. Did you fill your gas tank up? Did you consider a little for wear and tear? Are you putting anything to the side? I know a lot of W-2 people who can't do all that right now too. So if your answer is no, you're not alone. I'm just saying, are you at least aware of it? Because I don't think you're going to find the 512. If you do find yourself doing any kind of breakdown that makes sense to you and you're making 512, go get a W-2 today, because you'll be making at least 3 times as much and not driving your car into the ground. So, and again, this is just one of the hardcore people that really breaks it down to try and find everything. This is what the kind of people that screwed New York. The rise of gamified work systems. That raises a question. How can companies convince freelancers that gig work provides them more control and flexibility than a traditional job while getting them to work more and more? The answer, gamification. Great, they're using all these terms. Again, lawmakers, other people, when I used to use these terms, nobody knew. They're like, gamification, what? Like, yes, you could explain it and they'd understand it, but they're using it. Gamification refers to interactive design features that incorporate aspects from games, most notably the use of rewards to driver action. These can include points, badges, or payments. They can also include status indicators like levels, leaderboards, and progress bars to track achievement. A 2012 Pew Research Center reported, this is a quote, neuroscientists are discovering more and more about the ways in which humans react to such interactive design elements. They say such elements can cause feel-good chemical reactions, alter human responses to stimuli, increase reaction times, for instance, and in certain situations can improve learning, participation, and motivation. This will come in a second. Uber and Lyft have employed a range of gaming strategies to keep drivers behind the wheel. Uber has experimented with using psychological inducers in the app interface to influence when, where, and how long drivers work. Design elements include video game features and graphics and non-cash rewards of little value, even in less lucrative locations. These strategies exploit drivers' tendency to set earnings goals, reminding them that if they keep driving just a bit more, they will meet their target. Similar to how experts argue that Netflix's autoplay function encourages binge watching among users, Uber has an algorithmic feature to send a future fare opportunity before the current ride is over. We all know this from the delivery apps too. It's on all of them. In fact, it can get very frustrating. Gary'sApps.com. I had to there, guys. But so before their current rise, they're pushing drivers to keep working. Weekly challenges can further reinforce this behavior. Drivers can be offered bonuses for completing more rides and re-engaging with the platform. For example, in a Guardian article by Sarah Mason, they reported that Lyft would offer, and this is a quote, an uncharacteristically lucrative bonus north of $100 if they had not logged on to the app in a while. The algorithm behind these kinds of offers is not disclosed by the companies, but typically The higher the demand in a given area, the higher the reward. And they're also trying to get you back on. We all know this. The unpredictability of these challenges mimic the mechanisms used by casinos to promote addictive behavior. The pull to refresh feature, common in gig apps, imitates the lever of a slot machine. This is right from their report. Each pull offers the chance at a reward, but no guarantee. The uncertainty is what sustains engagement. Like gambling, gig work relies on strategy, like variable reinforcement schedules and unpredictable intervals of reward to keep workers hooked, always chasing the next payout. The playbook appears elsewhere. Amazon, whose labor practices have sparked nationwide protests, have also employed gamification inside its warehouses, where 10-hour overnight mega shifts are not uncommon. In 2021, the information reported that the company expanded its FC Games program, deploying features like achievements and leaderboards to make shifts more bearable. While the company claimed participation, anybody here in sweatshop at all? Or is it me? While the company claimed participation was optional, the report noted the company is widely known to monitor and manage performance rates for warehouse workers, and will reprimand or fire employees who don't meet the expectations. So the broader consequences for worker, here we go. This is the slippery slope of gig work that uses gamification to manipulate workers. On the surface, these companies' terms and conditions seem flexible and carefree. But once workers rely on the convenience, subtle mechanisms attempt to convert them into addicts, pushing them to chase every goal, every bonus, slowly committing more time and energy to the role the companies want them to fill. Gamification does not exist in a vacuum. Rather, it exaggerates an already unstable employment model. The broader gig economy is characterized by algorithmic unpredictability, low bargaining power, a lack of social protections, and a complete neglect of traditional employee rights. The appearance of freedom and flexibility remains the selling point of these jobs, but they mask a system where workers are exploited for their time by opaque algorithms, exposing them to risks without any formal safety nets. And here we come into the last paragraph. Given these realities, can workers be expected to walk away from a game engineered to extract as much labor as possible? Gig companies understand what drivers addictive behavior, attempting to disguise hard work as play and dependency as freedom. They have engineered their designs so effectively that more sinister aspects of gamification may go relatively unnoticed by everyday gig workers. Behind every cheerful interface is an invisible hand guiding choices. This is the hand that keeps gig workers clocked in despite flexibility being the main appeal. Until we recognize that the games of the gig economy are just another form of control, workers will keep playing and losing in a system where the only real winner is the platform itself.